Check. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming. It is 1 o'clock, so I'll go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. Okay, wonderful. Again, thank you all for coming today. We've got some really important information that coincides and goes hand in hand with the presentation that Garth was so kind to make for us yesterday. So now that just about all of you, if not definitely all of you, were here for yesterday's meeting and you're aware of the changes to the meal plans and that converting to a credit system, what I'd like to talk about is what's coming in 2022 for dining services. At the very end of this presentation, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I know there are a lot of questions that are on a lot of your minds, more than likely, that I'm not going to cover in full in the presentation, but I will get to those. I also have some time for some Q&A, but the biggest thing I want to let you know about is the Ocotillo menu and how that's changing, how it affects you, and how it provides for more flexibility and aligns with the new credit program from Westminster Village. So again, thank you. I'll go ahead and get started. So, Ocotillo. Everybody knows and loves Ocotillo. You're all very familiar with the dining program and the way it works now. You're all currently getting $10.50 a day as a meal credit towards your Ocotillo meals or whatever meals you would like throughout your day. That amount is changing to $12.50 in the new year and will be service bundled with your basic housekeeping and will no longer be Westminster dining dollars, but rather a service credit. So your current Ocotillo menu, you have that standard meal charge. If you come in and you dine in Ocotillo, it doesn't matter if you and your guest order a steak with 3 sides, a drink, a soup, a salad, and a dessert, or if you order a salad and a soup. You're both paying $10.50. So with this credit change, we're taking the opportunity to provide flexibility. You will now have an a la carte menu in Ocotillo. And what do I mean by a la carte menu? You all see it every single day when you go to the Garden Cafe. You will have that ability to order only what you want to pay for and only what you want to eat. We have had a lot of comments over the years from residents saying, I only want a soup, or I really don't want a starter, or do I really need to eat dessert? And is it really a fair value for me that I should have to pay for that if I'm not getting it? We have an answer to that now. You will be able to bundle all of the entrees, and I will preface by saying 60% or more of our menu fits into that $12.50 range where you will bundle and choose a starter, meaning a salad or a soup, your entree, 2 sides, a beverage, and a dessert. But on top of that, the biggest gain from this, yourself or your guests will be able to come in, pay the same price that's listed on the menu, and say, I'm not that hungry today, but I'd like to have a dine-in experience. Just give me a bowl of soup and a cup of coffee and I'm happy. And you walk away paying a whole lot less. So I think this is a real big win for everybody at the community. And the guest price and resident price is going to be the same, so there's no confusion there. I have some examples up. This is an actual screenshot of the menu that's going to go in place in January. So, let me explain and walk through some of these arrowed, highlighted areas for you. You can now dine in Ocotillo and purchase only starters or only a beverage, and if desired, you can even come in and order only a dessert. Your daily specials, we're still going to have a daily special, and they're always going to fall within that bargain bundle dollar amount, meaning $7.50 for just the entree itself. But if you wanted to bundle it with a starter, a beverage, 2 sides, and a dessert, it's going to be $12.50, which falls into your allotted credits for your meals per day. So bundling any standard or signature entree is only going to be $5 more. We have really fair prices on all of our a la carte sides, all of our beverages, and all of our starters, anywhere from $1.25 to $2.50. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next slide. This is our signature entree slide. Listed here, we have some premium entrees that we have been offering here for years. It was always just $10.50. They command a higher price, sale price. Why do they command a higher sale price? I don't think anybody's a stranger to the situation we're in these days. Our market and our economy is unprecedented. The cost of operating, the inflation, the labor involved in it. In order for us to do business and to be good stewards of our clients' money, we need to provide flexibility where you have the option to buy these items, but it's discretionary. If you don't want to spend $12 on your steak and bundle it for $17, you don't have to. But I'm going to explain to you how you can do this without being worried about having gone through too many of your credits on the dining program. Also, a big part of this decision to have higher priced entrees and the majority of the items being within your dollar limits, or your daily credit amounts, I should say, we want to avoid, as a community and through the administration, we don't want to see large spikes in your monthly service fees. We don't want to see your rents going up. We want these expenses to be controllable, and we want you to have a choice in the matter, and we want to provide flexibility here. So you can order nothing but sides to build a vegetable plate, which has been a huge request over the years that I've been here. How do I have an entree that's all vegetables? Well, now you have the ability to get, for $1.50 each, any and all of our sides, including our vegetables, or our premiums, whether it's a daily whole grain starch or a seasonal vegetable for $2.50 each. You could build a whole meal if you're a vegetarian or a vegan for a whole lot less than even $10.50 and leave really full. So with that flexibility, you choose what you want to eat, and that's all you pay for. I know there's going to be questions. I'm going to leave some room for more questions at the end, but some questions that I really anticipated. What's the daily amount of my credit for dining? Of your service credits that you receive, what portion of that is for dining? So you're going to get $12.50 a day, Monday through Saturday. You're going to receive $20 in credit for Sundays. So what I have gone to think is, if you don't want to spend $12.50 each time in Ocotillo, you no longer have to. You have that ability to flexibly spend. There's going to be meal solutions that are $12.50. There are going to be meal solutions below $12.50. There's also going to be a few options that are above $12.50 if you choose. So question would be, does this mean that the pricing is similar to how the Garden Cafe charges? The answer is yes. The pricing in Ocotillo is going to charge exactly the same way that the Garden Cafe does. There's no question about what you ordered, what you're paying for what you ordered, and you choose only what you want. A really big question that I anticipate is, I don't want to spend more than $12.50, but I'd really like to be able to get a steak or one of your signature entrees, one of those higher priced items, and I don't want to go over my credits. How can I do this? Well, you have the freedom to perhaps a couple of days out of the week come into Ocotillo and eat only an entree with one side, which will drastically reduce the amount of money you're spending in Ocotillo. Perhaps you had a heavy lunch that day and you'd still like to come to dinner, but you don't want a full meal. Order a soup and a salad. You're probably going to walk out the door spending about $5 or $6. So that's a huge win. You can save and allocate those amounts later in the week if you want to buy a steak or two. Or heck, if you're not a big fan of going to Sunday brunch, there's $20 right off the bat that you can use on any meal you want. And now with the new fee structure that Garth introduced to you all yesterday, you can use those for other services too. So you're not obligated to needing to spend it on food if you don't want to. So there are likely a few things on everybody's mind that aren't covered by the presentation on Ocotillo. I do want to take questions primarily on the Ocotillo menu and the a la carte structure, but I know everybody's wondering, when are we going to see more hours in the Garden Cafe? When's the cafe going to be open for dinner? So I met with Tom yesterday, and we had a good long discussion, and it's no secret, we are going through some staffing difficulties, but what we want to do is deliver the best service that we can to you as residents and commit to moving forward with positive action as frequently and as often as we can. So, not this coming Monday, but the next Monday, December 27th, we're going to be opening the cafe for dinner on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. They will still close at 1:30, but they will reopen at 4 o'clock to give you another option for dinner on those 3 days. So that will make a total of 4 days. Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, where the cafe will be available for dinner. Now this will be for dine-in or pickup only. We won't, unfortunately, be able to do delivery at this time, and we're also going to have to omit the breakfast section of the menu. But we're hoping that this opens up more flexibility, more options, and more variety to you as residents, and builds some value. And we commit to you that we will expand upon that, increase our operating hours, and increase what we're offering as soon as we're able. Now, Donnelly's, everybody wants to know when Donnelly's is opening. So Jayhawk, an extension of our Donnelly's service, starting next week on Thursday. We have a flyer that's going to be going out very shortly. Next week on Thursday and the following Thursday will be the first time we're going to do, let's call it a happy hour hors d'oeuvres dine-in event. So we're going to have a flat door fee, probably around $10.50 for the remainder of this year, and small bite appetizers, tiny things, just to nourish you, and we're going to have cocktails and cocktail specials on Thursdays. That's something that we're going to continue with through the new year, and then open Donnelly's for dinner on Fridays and Saturdays, starting January 7th and 8th. I know that's something that everybody's been looking forward to and waiting for, so I didn't want to take this opportunity to speak with you all without mentioning these items. So, at this point, my presentation is pretty straightforward and not as information heavy as Garth's, but I would love to use this opportunity to take any questions. Anna, behind you.
The issue of what hours you serve, I've been going back and forth with Tom since he put out the first notice of 4 to 7, whereas we had pretty much open day of eating. I've talked to you a couple times. I was assured they were going to work to allow for a better noon-oriented meal. Nothing I see has touched that subject whatsoever. Tom has just avoided me, you've avoided me, and I don't think you listen. The better time for people our age to eat a larger meal is in the middle part of the day.
So your question is, when will we have meal solutions available between those hours of 1:30 and 4 o'clock, where we're currently going to be closed for the cafe?
Yes.
I will be very forthright and honest with you that one of the options that we discussed in reopening the Garden Cafe was to simply extend the hours until 4 p.m. to capture that group of residents. However, after really talking through it and thinking through all the logistics of this, we truly felt we would make a bigger impact as a whole to open up for dinner as a secondary dinner venue. But I definitely assure you, going back to our promise, as soon as we find it operationally possible, the first thing we'll do is close that gap between 1:30 and 4 o'clock, because we do recognize there are a good handful of residents who are used to having had lunch in Ocotillo from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and we need to address those residents as well. So your concern is valid, your question is appreciated. It's not that myself or Tom are trying to avoid you. It's there's a lot of moving parts, and making the right decision, unfortunately, it's not always easy. And we feel strongly that we are making the right decision to open for dinner at this time and move forward with more hours as soon as we're able to.
Now, speaking to this credit system, I think you're creating an accounting nightmare for the residents to keep track of how much credit, how much they've spent, what do they have, and then the quality of the meal. That should be guided by management. Now you're leaving it up to each individual to pick and choose. That's not the way to deal with people, at least at our senior level. They need some guidance to eat quality food, not soup and salad.
So, to answer the question about the accounts themselves, anytime there's a change, especially a big change when it comes to your dollars and cents, there's an adjustment period involved. I'm sure there's a lot of concern around, is this new accounting and meal credit, or service credit rather, system going to be more confusing? I strongly believe, after listening to Garth's presentation yesterday and getting heavily involved in the logistics of it myself, at the end of the day, it should be easier. There will be no question about where your dollars are going. Your monthly bill should explain it. And myself, the accounting team, we're always available to provide more detail if you'd like to dig into it with us. Those of you in the room who've called me know that I always do my best to be responsive. So just give it some time, and I really feel confident this is going to be a positive thing. Yeah, let's take the next one.
Don Jones, just a question on the receipts that we usually get at. Will that be cover everything then on that receipt? Whatever we spend on credits rather than on bucks?
So the question being, what will your receipt in the dining rooms detail? We will be able to provide you the same level of detail with your receipts anytime you dine in with us, whether that's an Ocotillo, Donnelly's, Garden Cafe. We'll provide you with the receipt still, and it'll have all the detail on what you purchased, so you can, for those of you who like to balance your checkbooks, so to speak, and keep track.
Nick,
Yes.
with the hours that you put up for the cafe, how is this going to affect happy hour?
That's something we're still looking into, but I can tell you, I know how important the Garden Cafe happy hour is to the residents. So we will definitely do everything we can to continue with happy hour. We have no plans of stopping. Yes.
This is easy. Can I have a copy of your presentation?
Absolutely.
To everybody,
Absolutely.
or do I have to ask for it?
You know, there's a lot of people in this room, but I think that I can make it.
We'll have copies of it starting
Yes.
tomorrow morning at the front desk for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Front desk tomorrow morning. Thank you.
For yesterday's and today's?
Yes, yes, yes.
Have you considered opening Ocotillo at 3:30? That would take care of we people who like to eat between 1 and 3.
We've actually considered going a little bit beyond that. One of our next steps that we will be taking, one of the next steps that we will be taking would be to open Ocotillo at 3 rather than 4 o'clock. But we will release the information when we're ready to do that, but it's absolutely on our radar, and 3 o'clock is the time we have in mind.
Hi, Todd. Nick, the question that I have is, the days that you're going to have the Garden Cafe open for dinner, it's only going to be open for dinner. It's not going to be open at 7 a.m. as it usually is. Am I correct?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking it. I definitely want to clarify. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we will still be open from 7 to 1:30 for breakfast and for lunch. We're just going to allow the staff that we have some time to refresh the line, prep back up, and get ready for dinner. Open at 4 o'clock and be open through 7 for dinner as well.
Okay, so unfortunately, I could not read what you had up there for the upcharge on the items on the menu. Now, in Ocotillo, I'm on a very low sodium diet, so I am limited on what I can eat. And therefore, when I go into Ocotillo, I know that if I order a steak, I'm safe. So you're telling me there's going to be an upcharge on that? And previously, our dinner was soup, salad, entree, dessert, and beverage. Now it's going to be salad or soup.
So let me clarify. Another good question. So you'll be able to still bundle your meals that receive a beverage, a soup or a salad, an entree, 2 sides, and a dessert, with the vast majority of our menu, 60% or more, falling right into that $12.50 credit range. We will have other options available on the menu that for the protein, the main center plate item, whether it's a filet mignon or another steak special, perhaps some of our seafood offerings as well, that are above that $12.50 range when you bundle them. But I would say tomorrow morning when you're able to get a copy of the presentation, please feel free to stop by the front desk and get that, and I'm always available for calls, and I can take your questions individually.
You did say soup or salad.
You have the option to eat soup or salad for your starter.
Not both, unless you want.
Correct. It is one or the other, but you also have the option to have both if you'd like to pay for it a la carte. You also have the option to clarify on the soup and salad comment. If you're not that hungry and you just want soup for dinner, you can do that, and it'll cost you just the price of the soup. We're not tying everyone to spending their dollars per day, so to speak.
What happens to the leftovers?
So I did have a question here in the front row. What happens with the leftover dollars? Garth covered this yesterday. All of the service credits that you have left at the end of the month, you're on an incline balance. So everything will be applied as a discount, essentially, to all of your service-related fees, not only inclusive of dining.
Nick, question on the salad bar, will it ever return, or is that a thing of the past?
We don't see the salad bar opening back up in the foreseeable future. We're, our business, especially in senior dining, sees it as a thing of the past at this point, but we are working on some pretty creative and innovative solutions for the new year that I think everybody will be excited about.
But besides salads are pretty constant and mundane.
We have a pretty robust program that we'll be introducing.
Good.
Yes.
I had to miss the meeting yesterday. Could you tell me what the monthly credit will be?
Unfortunately, I don't have all that information. Garth could speak to it a little bit more. But I can say that it's based on the size of your unit and how many individuals are living in your home. But there will be more information available.
So Garth's presentation is now available at the front desk for anyone to pick up if you wish, and that should have that information.
Mary Jane from room 1056. Is there any consideration of having more fish available? Different types of fish, so we could have fish every meal if we want?
Absolutely. Oh, we're always looking into different menu options. You know, aside from the salmon, the trout, and the shrimp that we normally have, our chef is always looking to refresh our menus. And something that we definitely want to do for the new year is get into a more fresh seasonal menu rotation. There are a lot of projects we're currently working on that you will start to see as the new year starts, and a refreshed menu and a renewed vision on how we do service is a big part of that.
I wanted to bring up something about assisted living, and I know it doesn't enter into everybody's thoughts. However, I feel I've been up in assisted living for a couple of months only. The quality of the food has gone way down. If something is available, I would say medium, it always comes back very well done. Fried food comes up black, absolute black. I've sent back many times. Does anybody check before it's put on that dumbwaiter to go up to us?
Absolutely. It's the same process for Ocotillo as it is for assisted living. The line actually feeds directly to the dumbwaiter. So our chefs check the food before it goes up, but I appreciate you bringing it up, and we'll make sure it's addressed.
Maybe they need new glasses.
I'll make sure it's addressed. Any other questions before we close the meeting?
Just a minor question.
Yes.
As to the garden cafe between 1:30 and 4, will we have the option of maybe just stopping in with a friend and having a dish of ice cream and a cup of coffee?
Unfortunately, at this time, we don't plan to have anybody staffed at the cafe from 1:30 till 4 o'clock. But we will do that as soon as we're able to.
Almost forgot my question. Oh, are they going to continue, people who would like to have room service, have meals brought to the room?
Yeah, we are going to continue with delivery with the exception of the Garden Cafe dinner service on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. We currently don't have the ability to provide delivery service for that particular meal period, but everything that you're used to receiving at this time, as far as delivery goes, will continue. There will be the return of the delivery fee in January of $3.
Nick, right here.
Oh, I'm just wondering if you you sent out a questionnaire to the residents asking them what they would like, that you're undergoing changes and you would like input from the residents. Did that happen and I missed it?
So this time around, we're moving so fast and furious into the new year, and there are a lot of changes that we had to make just from a business operations standpoint that were, again, tough but important decisions to make. But as we go into the new year, we're definitely going to do some resident satisfaction surveys.
Okay, the corollary to that is then, who is the we you keep referring to? We decided this, we decided that.
That would be myself, then our administration here at the Leadership for Westminster Village. We collaborate on all of this.
And was the food committee involved?
Yeah, we meet with the food committee.
I'm relatively new here, but I want to make a comment. This is not a question. You are in one hell of a mess, considering what's going on in this world with inflation, shortage of help. I think you're doing a tremendous job, and I don't know how you sleep at night.
Thank you.
Now that Sunday brunch is going up to $20, will takeout and delivery be as meager as it's been?
So we're reevaluating the food program as a whole for the new year. I wouldn't say anything will be changing for the Sunday brunch in the next coming few weeks, but it's definitely on my personal agenda to take a look at that.
Maybe I missed something. You said that we are going to have a $3 delivery charge, which I don't think we've had in the past. You said as we had before. Are you telling me if someone is ill, they have to pay $3 to get their meal up when they are not capable to go down and pick it up?
So there was a lot of discussion about this last year when we introduced the $3 delivery fee. We paused the $3 delivery fee for some time because we closed a good number of our venues, and we didn't feel like it was fair to the residents to charge a delivery fee for the only meal option available. With it coming back and that question being asked again, there are going to be residents who ask if there are medically related exceptions to the fee. At this time, we don't have anything in place for that. The residents do their heart-to-heart neighborhood leaders to assist with obtaining their meals via pickup where there was not a fee involved in it. And I would suggest doing that perhaps in the new year as we start to roll forward until perhaps we come up with something different, but at this time we don't have anything planned.
Nick, just one point of clarification. The delivery fee was for the cafe, not for Ocotillo, is that correct?
That is correct.
So there will not be a delivery fee for Ocotillo?
There actually will be for the new year.
There will be,
There will
okay,
be.
thank you. Who needs that?
Because in assisted living, we pay ahead for the month. This is not the place to discuss that. To whom may I speak to find out?
Well, if you have specific questions in regards to the food and how your daily credits will work, I can say that the way that we're going to be setting that up is your breakfast credit, your lunch credit, and your dinner credit. We have set windows of time frames for each of those meals, and if you eat in AL, the meals that are available strictly there through Ocotillo's sister menu, essentially, you're not going to see any kind of charge beyond what you receive on your daily credits. Now, if you were to order from the Garden Cafe, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, that daily credit that you get for each meal period will be subtracted as a discount, essentially, from those menu items. And anything that's remaining would be billed. Anything that's remaining that is above the amount you paid would unfortunately not roll over to lunch and to dinner, but you will get those discounted credits.
That sounds very interesting. To whom may I speak to about that?
We could connect anytime.
I'm sorry?
We can connect anytime you'd like.
Speak to you?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, Nick, hi, I'm Cynthia. Just have a question as to, is there a nutritionist on staff? I know to be a chef is a difficult job. To be a nutritionist along with that is extremely difficult. And I'm wondering what the name would be of that person. And also, could you speak on organic versus non-organic foods and GMO versus non-GMO? And what are we really eating here?
So it's a good question. We do have a dietitian on site. She works mainly out of Wyrick Healthcare Center, but she manages both Wyrick and Sackton Assisted Living. Her name is Leanne Kinney, and her extension is 5036. She has absolutely no problem with calls in regards to specific dietary needs, requirements, if anybody would like a consult. She does not strictly work for the licensed areas, but independent living residents are more than welcome to use her as a resource as well. As far as the non-GMO organic foods, I personally understand that question because I try to purchase non-GMO and organic myself at home. But as far as the business and operations go, I think we're seeing enough inflation with our menus, with what we serve that's available through our broadline providers as it is. Not every resident would want to pay the premium that's involved in strictly non-GMO and organic foods. That's not to say that we don't have certain food items here that are organic or are non-GMO. A good variety of them are. However, to purchase strictly that would just create a large increase in cost, and everybody would see it, unfortunately. I think in the future we might be able to look into something, but at this time, it's probably not the best idea.
Nick, okay. I enjoy having breakfast in the Garden Cafe frequently, and I'm wondering which days or which mornings breakfast is available in the cafe.
So breakfast will continue to be available in the cafe Monday through Saturday. That will not change. So let me clarify. Breakfast during breakfast hours and lunch hours from 7 a.m. to 1:30 will be available Monday through Saturday. However, if you come in Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday evening from the hours of 4 o'clock to 7, the breakfast menu will not be available. It'll just be the lunch and specials.
Nick, we're gonna take just a couple more questions.
However many.
I have one more question. On the Sunday brunch, we've been having it in our apartment. I can't understand how we could only order one entree. So if I wanted to have an omelet and I wanted to have ham or bacon to go with it, that can't be allowed. So then I go down at the bottom, and if I want to have fresh fruit and I want to have the bagels, or I want to have the Danish, I'm limited what I can have. But if I went to the dining room, I could have everything I wanted at the same price. Why I'm saying that, and I think I'm not the only one, but I have become declared legally blind. I find it very scary for me to walk out into the halls because so many people gather in the middle of the hallways talking. And then I never know when they're going to move. Some people are in their motorized chairs, and I've almost been hit twice. So I try to stay close to the wall and out of the main course as much as I can. I enjoyed, and we always have enjoyed, eating in the dining rooms. But right now, it seems to be a very stressful experience for me, even though the employees have offered to go get the food and do things for me. I just don't understand why, if we pay the extra $3, why we can't get everything on the menu that we would want, why we're limited. And then when they say a starch, which I think I had this conversation with you, if you have a pasta with your main meal, that is a starch. Why can't you come down and order 2 vegetables? Because I do like the vegetables, they're good for my eyesight and for our health. And I think a lot of people, not a lot, I'll say, I know probably about 8 or 10 that feel the way I do. And I hate to be picky and special, and I give anything in the world if I continue the lifestyle that I once did, and being with people. But it's become a very frightening experience for me. So I think whenever I order to my room, I should be able to have the same thing if I was going to the dining rooms.
Thank you. It's a good question, and somebody earlier touched on the brunch menu and what you're able to get for delivery. Let me just say that when we made some of those decisions earlier in the year with what was limited on the brunch menu, part of it was to help drive participation in the dining rooms. But as we move forward into the new year, that is definitely amongst the things that I would like to take a fresh look at, especially with the delivery fee coming back. I think we might be able to work in some more flexibility. It's something for us to take a look at collectively as both as a community and as a dining department. So that will be looked at. Your other question, starch being pasta, yes. For anybody in this room, if you order an entree that comes with pasta, you are not obligated to getting mashed potatoes or mac and cheese. That just simply doesn't make sense. Currently, your 2 sides can be whatever you want them to be. They can both be green vegetables, and that's completely understandable. I know that if I'm getting a big heavy pasta dish, I don't want any mashed potatoes too. I wouldn't be able to move. So I can only imagine that when I'm even 20 years older than now, it's probably going to immobilize me. So you're more than welcome to eat whatever you would like for your sides. And when we roll out the new menu in 2022, the ability to add those green vegetables is going to be even easier.
Okay, last question right here.
Sure.
I have a question about when you order your dinner and you want it in your room and you're going to pick it up. When you get it to the room, there's always 1 or 2 things missing, or not the same as the dinner menu.
So the reason behind it, you're probably not incorrect. Unfortunately, we do a lot, and we endeavor very, very much to be accurate with what we pack for our pickups and for our deliveries. Well, while those efforts are in place and we cross-check and we make sure that our servers that are packing these foods up check the order sheets to double-check them, sometimes mistakes happen, whether it's something is misheard on the message or something is missed in the delivery. I wish I could say that it never happens, but it does from time to time. The only thing that I can say is we're always willing to make it right. All you have to do, please, by all means, call us and we will make it right. We will either run something up to you or make it up to you in another way. We can definitely promise that. So, unfortunately, I've ran out of time for questions, but as always, I'm available to everybody offline after this meeting, whether you want to call me or approach me. Thank you all.